Took a bit of a break, but we're back. 3:44 a.m. Second video for the day. No problems, man. No problems. I like doing these things. But all right. Today in this video, we're gonna be dealing. Let's look at our thing right here. So we've done 1, we've done 2, we've done 3. Number 4, intro storyline. #2. Okay. Rejection specifics. There isn't too much about rejection that we're gonna be talking about, but I am gonna give you guys an entire storyline for how I stacked these cells. Okay. So this, right? How I took it up here, took that one, etc., etc. You get the point. Okay. So that's the first thing. I want to show you guys this storyline, how this worked, what was going through my head, just so you guys can identify what I thought you guys in the previous video. And then I'm going to teach you guys a little terminology, a little piece of terminology that I came up with. It's called inbred closure. I wanted to name it Alabama closing. That's what I wanted to name it. But I was like, okay, Alabama inbred. I don't want to take down an entire state. Let's talk about inbred closure. Okay, so what inbred closure is basically when price closes oddly. Right, price doesn't close all too nicely. Like this example right here, right? We have ourselves the daily reject daily, H4 breakout. You know, you're trying to sell in here, but boom, price just comes up and just rams through this entire thing. And yet I held the sell. Now, when you guys listen to what I'm about to say in this video, you're gonna think like, oh man, Avi, but that's not so rules based though, right? And you would be partially correct. There are rules to determine these things. There are rules to deal with these things, but a lot of it comes from repetitively experiencing these phenomenons in the market. And then at that point, you just, after a certain amount of times, you get so comfortable with it. You know what I'm trying to say? And then you know, oh, this could happen, so I need to do this. So this was a little thing that I learned before. Always have 2 plans. And it's funny because I recently started combat sports and I first started with jiu-jitsu, and the first thing they said with jiu-jitsu is always have 2 plans. The first plan, which is your initial reaction, and if that one goes south, how are you going to counter that? And it's funny because I learned having that 2-plan methodology from Forex before I even started with combat sports, which is just interesting. I just wanted to share that little thing with you, right? Always have a plan A and have a plan B if things go south. And that's going to help your mental as well. That's going to help your psychology tenfold. Okay, because you're going to be so comfortable that, okay, if I've planned this, I've planned for X to happen, but even if Y happens, I can react just like that, quick. Okay, so let me talk about it. Let me go straight into it. First of all, I want to elaborate on storyline. Now, a quick revision on the previous video. Before we get into this, quick revision on the previous video. What are the 2 ways that you can enter a trade, all right, based on a storyline? So first way based on a storyline is when you confirm the storyline. How do you confirm a storyline? Again, let's take the example of weekly, because that will be very common, right? Let's take the example of weekly bearish, okay? No, let's take the example of weekly bullish. Okay, how do you confirm weekly bullish storyline? Weekly, reject weekly, support, correct? So that's the first one. Let's talk about that. Now, I want you guys to think about this while I'm typing it. Okay, weekly bullish storyline. My question is very simple, guys. How do you confirm a weekly bullish storyline? Weekly reject, weekly support. Okay, second thing, breakout, or rather bullish breakout, 1 time frame above. Oh, sorry, 1 time frame below. Okay, so that's what? In this case, it'll be daily. So weekly reject, weekly support. Okay, that's done. Bullish breakout, 1 time frame below. Again, this can be preferred method. Okay, preferred method will be how? Daily breakout as a result of weekly rejection. That's the preferred way. Alternatively, okay, daily breakout. I can't type, bro, it's way too late. Daily breakout through the process. So we'll just say through the process in the coming days. Let's say in the coming days. Okay, so it's not like weekly reject weekly and then as a result of that, so like, okay, so let's say we have week 1 and then we have week 2. So let's say week 1 has already closed and now you're at week 2 Monday or Tuesday and you're like, okay, what happened on week 1? Oh, week 1 weekly rejected weekly support. Okay, and as a result of the weekly reject weekly support, and once it closed, daily made a breakout. That's the preferred way, right? So weekly reject weekly support, daily made a bullish breakout. Okay, alternatively, weekly reject weekly support, daily doesn't do anything, or maybe it just creates a little support, but that's not a break, so we can't confirm that as a weekly bullish storyline. But then during the time of the week 2, we have a daily bullish break. That's also considered, but it's not preferred, but it's also absolutely valid to say, oh, weekly bullish storyline has indeed started. Okay, so these are the two ways. These are the two ways that a weekly bullish storyline can start. Two ways it can start. Okay, first way is the preferred way, weekly reject, weekly support. Daily just breaks out as a result of the weekly reject, weekly support. Number two, weekly reject, weekly support. No breakout happens on the daily on the first week as a result of the weekly reject, weekly. There's no daily breakout. But during the second week, maybe nothing Monday, maybe nothing Tuesday. Oh, Wednesday does a daily breakout. Then Thursday you can say, oh, because Wednesday does the breakout. Thursday you can say, all right, weekly bullish storyline has started. These are the two ways, okay? There's a preferred way, there's a more optimal way, and then there's a alternative way. So again, there's a preferred way and there's an alternative way. Let me add some spacing in here so you guys can really see what I'm talking about. Okay, we're gonna put that right there. Now, the second thing, remember what I added at the ending of the previous video. It was a very long video, so I hope you guys caught on. The ending of the previous video, what did I tell you? The two ways that you can look for entries, correct? Now again, I'm not going into entry specifics, but I'm talking about what are the two ways you can enter a trade. So, two ways to enter a trade in weekly bullish storyline. Am I right? So now we are dealing with weekly bullish storyline. The reason I keep saying weekly bullish is because the previous video we talked about weekly bearish, weekly bearish. So I want to invert your mind real quick, okay? So, first way to enter trade in weekly bullish storyline. What's the first way? Simply daily support. So we'll say daily supports created after daily breakout. So why do I say after daily breakout? Avi, now you're confusing the hell out of me. What do I mean by daily supports created after daily breakout? Do you remember that to conclude that there's a weekly bullish storyline, we must have a daily bullish breakout? Okay, let me say that again. I know you guys like me to speak slow. Okay. Do you remember that for a weekly storyline to be bullish, there must be a daily bullish breakout? You remember that? There must be daily bullish breakout when weekly storyline becomes bullish, correct? Okay. That daily breakout will create new supports to form. Let me say that again. Weekly reject weekly. Avi, how do I know it's weekly bullish storyline? I'll tell you. Weekly reject weekly. Daily does a breakout, either as a result of the weekly reject weekly or the alternative way, which is in the process of the second, third week. Okay, so again, weekly reject weekly, daily bullish breakout. Once the daily bullish breaks out, there is a bunch of new supports created. Maybe the new support is in the form of an apex, right? Sell by, it's just a support. Extreme, origin point, whatever. Maybe it's in the form of a left shoulder. Maybe it's in the form of a resistance break becomes support, right? Which is known as a breaker block for ICT guys out there. Maybe it's in the form of just a simple open close, right? Whatever the case is, very simple. What I'm telling you is once weekly rejects weekly and daily does a breakout, which means you say, oh, weekly bullish storyline, right? That was a bit of a loud, oh, hope it didn't wake up my neighbors, right? So weekly reject weekly, daily bullish breakout. As a result of the daily bullish breakout, there's a bunch of new supports that have been created. Those new supports that have been created, we can go and enter from that. Daily supports created after daily breakout. Okay, so again, now let's talk about that. Two ways to enter a trade in weekly bullish storyline. Daily supports, we can enter from the daily supports that have been created after the daily breakout. So we can say daily supports that have been created after daily breakout. Okay, that's the first way, right? Second way is what? Second way is the higher risk way. This will be low to medium risk, we'll call it. Okay, why? Why low to medium risk? Why low to medium risk? Because the daily has already broken out. Okay, this is wrong. Two ways to enter a trade in weekly setup. Okay, weekly setup means what? What does weekly setup mean? Weekly setup means this. Now we're getting a little bit more advanced for you guys. That's why I made a mistake there because I'm still talking about beginner stage. So I'm getting a bit advanced for you guys. A setup means this. Means two possible entries. I hate that I'm going too advanced, but it's going to help the other advanced people out there. First way, entry at significant zone based on storyline. Number two, entry before storyline starts. Now, okay, there's a lot of writing on here and a whole not much of examples, but don't worry, we'll get to it. Setup. What does a setup mean? Two possible entries. You can enter at the significant zone based on a storyline, and you can enter before the storyline starts. Now, what do I mean by this? Okay, setup. Entry at significant zone based on storyline means what? Weekly bullish storyline has already been confirmed. Okay, weekly bullish storyline has already been confirmed. So where's your entry points going to be at? What's the significant zone? Daily, correct? So you'll be looking at your dailies. That's the first way. Second way, entry before storyline starts is the one I talked about in the previous video, where you have a weekly reject weekly, and then you look at the result of that. You look at the result of the weekly reject weekly on the daily, correct? Remember, weekly reject weekly, then you look at the daily, right? But on the daily, there's no breakout. So weekly reject weekly, daily no breakout. But daily, okay, so let's say this is bearish, right? Weekly reject weekly, daily no breakout. Weekly reject weekly, but on the daily, there's a new resistance formed, right? So again, I don't know if I can find you guys an example right now. I really don't know whether I can or not, but let's see if we can. Let's just see if there's like any example I could just show you guys right now. It's kind of rare to find those, so I'm not really sure. I'm just trying to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, maybe this guy may give us something. See this open close with an engulfing, so weekly reject weekly. Let's see what happens on the daily. Okay, brilliant example. All right, so if we were to look at this, oh no, I don't think this is a valid example still. No, it's not. Oh no, it is. Okay, cool. Okay, so look, weekly reject weekly, right? Weekly reject weekly. This line delineates when the new week starts. So we ignore everything on this line and forward, okay? Only look at what is the candles before this line. Weekly reject weekly. Then what? We go to daily, right? So look, this candle and this new week is when it broke the structure, but we're still on the first week. Remember, we ignore everything on the line and forward because that's a part of the new week. Okay. So this week, weekly reject weekly, and it closed here, this candle. Closed on this candle here. See, we still haven't broken this structure. See, we never broke the structure. It's just formed a daily sell. Weekly reject weekly, no daily breakout. Weekly reject weekly, just a new fresh resistance. Yes, it didn't work out, but I'm trying to give you guys an example here. I'm not trying to show you guys what worked out or what didn't work out. I'm trying to give you guys an example here. Okay, so this will be the area you can enter. This is the second way to enter, which is exactly why it is considered, where the hell did I write it? Higher risk. Okay, it is considered higher risk. Weekly reject weekly, just a new support created, or new resistance in this case created. That's it. Okay, so two ways to enter a trade in a weekly setup. Daily supports that have been created after the daily breakout. So weekly reject weekly, daily bullish breakout, right? Weekly reject weekly support, daily bullish breakout. We're looking at buys here, guys. Listen, weekly reject weekly, daily bullish breakout. As a result of the daily bullish breakout, we have ourselves new daily support zones created. Second way is what? It's a setup we're talking about. Okay, so this is already confirmed as a weekly bullish storyline. Why? Because it's a daily breakout, right? But the second way, there's no confirmed storyline. You want to get a trade in early. So weekly reject weekly, just a new oh god, just a new daily support forms, and you take a trade from there, right? You can use multi-time frame. To enter this trade. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. Weekly reject weekly, and there's a new daily here, right? So then what you do, you get your line. Again, I said it's better line. So there's your daily, you look for an MTF. Daily, go to H4, H4, go to H1, and then you enter a trade like that. That will be your MTF method. Again, as I said, this one failed to work, but I'm trying to give you guys an example here. Okay? So again, when you're learning, don't focus on whether it worked or it didn't work. Focus on the examples. Okay, so now I've explained, what have I explained to you? I've elaborated on the storyline. I've revised with you guys how the storyline can start. First way is the preferred way. Weekly reject weekly, right? Bullish breakout, one time frame below, which is daily. So in weekly reject weekly, daily bullish breakout. Okay? Second way you can start is weekly reject weekly, and then the daily breaks out in accordance, you know what I mean? In the process, right? Okay, so we've revised the previous video. Second thing I've added in here is that there are two possible entries for a setup. Okay, the first way you can enter is based on a storyline. You can enter based on a storyline. So there's a current monthly storyline. Let's take monthly. Fine. Make your brain work, guys. Don't be lazy. Let's say we take monthly. monthly reject, monthly resistance. Okay, listen to my words. Monthly reject, monthly resistance. We look at weekly. Weekly has done a bearish breakout. Okay, monthly reject, monthly, weekly has done a bearish breakout, and because of that bearish breakout, the weekly has weekly support become resistance, weekly left shoulder, weekly apex. We mark 3 of these zones. Maybe in your rule book it says we don't take SBR RBS. Okay, so that means all we have is monthly reject, monthly, weekly bearish breakout. As a result of the weekly bearish breakout, we have weekly left shoulder, we have weekly apex. We mark weekly left shoulder, we mark weekly apex. We wait for price to come back inside and we multi-time frame it. So weekly, daily, H4, H1, we enter both those areas according to that way. That is one medium to high risk way. Another way we can enter, now I'm already stepping into entries here, guys, so pay attention if you want to get ahead of the class here, if you want to call it that, right? So what do we have? Monthly reject, monthly, a weekly bearish breakout. We draw 2 lines at weekly left shoulder, draw another line at weekly apex, right? So like this, okay, we draw first line here, boom, we draw another line here, this is weekly. Okay, god damn. All right, and in here, the first way we multi-time frame it. So weekly, daily, H1, H1, or find whatever multi-time frames are there. We just enter a limit. Same thing here. Second way is price comes inside here, and we wait for a weekly reject weekly and see whether a daily does a new thing. Same thing here. So that's the first way. Enter at a significant zone based on the storyline. So for example, if we're dealing with daily, right? We're dealing with daily. What's it going to be? Daily reject daily. H4 bearish breakout, for example. So I'm dealing with number 1. Okay, the first entry setup. Daily reject daily. H4 bearish breakout. H4 bearish breakout forms a H4 left shoulder and H4 apex. We take the H4 left shoulder, take the H4 apex, see if there's any H1s in there. Boom, we enter just like that. What's the second way? Second way is entry before the storyline starts. So I'll give you another example. Daily reject daily. We look at the H4 for any breakout, but no breakout. Okay, daily reject daily resistance, H4 no breakout. But daily reject daily resistance, H4 just creates a resistance. Just like this one here, buy sell, just a buy sell candle, that's it, as a result of the daily reject daily. That will be your second possible entry, but it's higher risk. Okay, so yeah, pretty much that's what I wanted to say. This will be considered actually more so high risk in my opinion. Why high risk? Because storyline hasn't started. Why hasn't the storyline started? Because H4 hasn't broken out. Okay, the first way we're entering is because H4 broke out, which confirms the daily bearish storyline. Better risk, better for you. Okay, lower risk. Second way is daily reject daily. The daily storyline hasn't even freaking started as bearish, but the H4 just creates a nice bearish resistance. That's it, and you enter from there. It's valid. It's absolutely valid. Okay, so yes, this is my elaboration on the storyline. Now, how many minutes are we in? 20 minutes ish. Oh, sorry, 18 minutes. I'm blind. All right, I'm gonna keep this here. I want you guys to pause this video, write this in here. Now we're gonna deal with this entire thing here. First thing I did is this. Okay, now watch this. Freaking powerful. Watch this. Monthly. Okay, monthly. First thing I did was this. Realize here we broke. We have ourselves a support become resistance. That's the first thing. But second thing I notice is open close. I'm telling you exactly what I saw. So don't say, oh, but Avi, there's this and that. I'm telling you what I saw at that time. Open close right here, right with the engulfing. Here is a engulfing break, right? We have a bullish engulfing sell buy candle, right? This bullish candle engulfed the sell candle, and then it breaks. And I told you that engulfing candles in the same area as the OHLC is the best. Okay, cool. Monthly, I went back to weekly. Now weekly, I said, oh, we can refine. So I went and refined. Obviously, it didn't reach, right? But I just keep that at the back of my head. Oh, monthly, I know there's a zone here. Monthly, weekly, I know there's a zone above. Okay, I go daily. Daily, I'm like, ooh, there's a daily MTF. Monthly, so this is the first area I'm going to pay attention to. I drew my line like that. I drew my line like this. Obviously, only one of them hit. I'm telling you what I did on that day. So what I did was very simple. If I'm not wrong, I took an entry at the top. I can't remember, but I definitely took this entry 100%. I'll show you how I did both. So first entry I did was a high risk entry. How did I do this high risk entry? Why did I do this high risk entry? The reason I did this high risk entry is because we have a monthly MTF daily resistance. Why monthly MTF daily resistance? Because this line here comes from the monthly, and inside that monthly we have a daily. It also happens to be convenient that there's the daily exactly in the same pip with the monthly. It can be above, it can be below, doesn't matter, but it's still considered MTF, correct? Okay, I'm paying attention here. Now, all I did was very simple. It's daily, right? How did I do my first entry? H4. Okay, H4, I'm looking here. I'm looking here. Forget whatever happens here, just so you know I'm not cheating you guys. Forget whatever happens on the right hand side. I'm looking here. It looks like a cluster F, right? Now look. Buy, sell, buy, sell. I'm just marking it first, bro. I mark first and I think later. Mark this bad boy. Just like that. Okay, cool. Now, what else I'm marking? I'm marking this buy, sell, buy. Okay, this is a support. Boom, breaks becomes resistance. Mark this here first. Okay, no, we'll extend it later. Right? I'm not trying to do anything weird. Okay, and we also have this. What is this? Left shoulder. Buy, sell, break, up, down. Okay, seems confusing, I know. Skinny these guys out. Shove them there. Shove this here. Okay, what is this top one? The top one, you know what it is. We can delete it, don't worry, but you can understand. This is how I mark my zones, right? Why this is in the MTF of the monthly and daily. This is high risk, mind you. High risk. No rejection has occurred. No nothing has occurred. It's high risk. Okay, so anyway, that's how I mark it. I just want to get rid of that so it looks a bit cleaner for you guys. What have I marked here? H4 left shoulder, MTF with the daily monthly. H4 SBR, support break become resistance. MTF with the monthly daily or daily monthly, whichever is the same thing. Okay, if you wish to, you can go lower time frame, see what's in there. Hopefully we can go there. Yes, we can. Okay, so I see over here, okay, we have an SBR on the H1. Over here, there's nothing else at the top here. We can refine to the tops, but we will have a lot of things to deal with, right? Now, I use some trend lines and things like that as well. And I got this area. I don't know what trend line exactly I used, to be very frank with you guys. Maybe something like this, or maybe something like this, I think. Maybe. I don't know. You can see that touch right there. Trend line. A trend line is very, very subjective, by the way. Hey, is it subjective or objective? No, objective means it's a rule. Subjective means it's up to your own perception. Correct. So subjective. Trend lines are incredibly subjective. If I'm not wrong, I did something like this. Okay. And you can see how the monthly, you can see how, if I were to just delete this real quick, right? This is the zone H1, MTF H4. Let me show you the H4. Right? H1, MTF, H4, and you know the daily monthly, right? You know the whole daily monthly deal, right? H4, MTF, H1, MTF, H4, MTF daily, MTF monthly. So you don't bother about all of that. It's just there's a bunch of stuff in there. It's MTF'd. You know what I mean? It's MTF'd, okay? And so that was another area. And I just want to put a confluence because there's so many, bro. There's like so many freaking ones over here. So I'm like, let me pick a confluence. And I also understood at the back of my mind, hold on, this is a high risk trade. Okay, so when you're doing a high risk trade, your whole break-even methodology is going to be different. You know, your lot size, meaning your risk, is going to be different, things like that. So when I go into a high risk entry, it's not a gamble. I've calculated everything beforehand. So I take that right here. Okay, and you know, once it's a certain amount of pips, I put it to break even. So with a high risk trade, it's usually about 30 to 50 pips, and then I put it into break even because it's high risk. I don't mind if I lose the trade because I know if I lose the high risk trade, I'll just get the other trade after the rejection happens. You know, now I'm having the trade in anticipation of the rejection happening, but the rejection hasn't happened yet. I'm taking the trade in anticipation that the rejection happens. You see what I'm trying to say? So yeah, so it's fine even if I hit my break even. I'll just catch it next time, no problem. So yes, that was the first entry, if you guys are wondering. And then, now, before we move on, you need to understand that in this up place, you need to understand why I just went to the daily in the first place. Now you guys are like, wait, Avi, why did you even go to the daily in the first place? The reason I went to the daily in the first place is because of this. Let's look at the weekly. The weekly had not had any weekly bullish storyline whatsoever. See this? This is the up. Let me go to the daily and show you as well. This is the up. Let's go look at the daily, weekly. Is there any weekly bullish storyline whatsoever? Anything? See here. Anything? Did it touch anything? Anything fresher here? No, this is not fresh. Has it really touched it? No, here, not fresh. This one is God knows what, daily probably. I think daily is a long time ago. What did this buy from? God knows. This one maybe? No, already unfresh from here. It just bought from the weekly. I know there'll be a bunch of traders out there. Oh, this locked level, blah, blah, nonsense. No, okay? It just bought, all right? And here's the deal, right? the weekly storyline as of this uprise, the weekly storyline, right? As of this uprise was bearish, and I'll show you why. Not just because there's an absence of a weekly bullish that it's bearish, no, but because there was a weekly bearish. If I'm not wrong, it started over here or it started over here, and once it started over here, it never actually turned bullish. No, it turned bullish here. Weekly reject, weekly, daily breakout, right? Daily breakout, price went up. I'm not sure what it rejected from, but it came here, it broke the weekly bearish, and then I think the weekly bearish started from right here, guys. Or no, it started from right here. If you're wondering, I never took this trade. If I'm not wrong, at least I never took this trade. So it's not like I'm trying to do this in hindsight or something. It is hindsight because I never took the damn trade, right? So weekly reject, weekly, we had ourselves the breakout here, if I'm not wrong, right? Weekly reject, weekly, it's an odd breakout, it's still a breakout, it's still considered a breakout. Okay, so weekly reject, weekly, you're just looking for a breakout, and that's it. So this was where that breakout was, right? If you didn't catch that, over here. So weekly was bearish already. So if weekly is bearish, what are we looking at? Daily entries, correct? Okay. So again, let's recap. My first high risk entry was right up here. Okay, high risk entry. Why? In anticipation of the daily doing a daily reject daily, and because we are in 2 monthly sell zones. I was like, oh, there has to be something, right? If not here, then over here. Monthly left shoulder, monthly open close in around these 2 areas. If not there, over here. If not here, not here, because this is already tested. So if not here, then above. Right? So I know I already have these things mapped out, and this is just a high risk trade, right? So okay, let's assume that you missed this trade, or you took this trade and you're looking to stack, right? So what will you do? Very, very simple. Sell, buy, support, breaks, becomes resistance. This level is also MTF with the monthly. Man, I gotta stop speaking so loudly. I'm just so passionate about this stuff, bro, right? So I speak very loudly, like even louder than my normal speaking voice, and it just makes my throat sore. But anyway, daily, pause, bro. Daily, monthly. Okay, so we go daily. Now we've already entered that trade. We're all risk-free, happy, hallelujah, right? Yeah. Anyway, we now wait for a daily reject daily. Daily rejects daily. Okay, so this day has ended. This day has ended. So we're gonna place a line on the next day, because this is when the next day starts. So this day starts, opens here. I'm looking at the previous day. Oh look, daily reject daily. Let's go see what happened. Let's go look at the H4. H4, beautiful. We have ourselves the breakout that happens. Now the breakout happens during the next day, but remember what I told you about storylines? Remember what I told you guys? Recap real quick. Remember what I told you guys about the storylines, guys? We have the preferred and we have the alternative. The alternative, right? We have the preferred one, and alternatively, this could happen. Breakout in the coming days. So in this case, as a result of the daily reject daily, we never had any kind of H4 breakout, but we had the H4 breakout in the next day, in the coming days, right? The next day. That's still considered a daily bearish storyline. So we'll say this, okay? We pick a little thing, a call out, and we'll say daily bearish storyline started here. We'll just point out this. Started. Again, I don't like to use the word confirmed because nothing's confirmed. It's just a speculation. Daily bearish storyline started. Means what? Means what? Play from H4/H4 MTF daily. Okay? Because you know, H4 alone, if there's a H4 with an MTF daily, that's even better, correct? Okay, so what happened here? I'm just gonna like whiz past this and tell you guys exactly what I did. So next day is very simple. We had the left shoulder, we had this entry, so I marked these 2 out. And then I went to the H1. And I noticed something on the H1. I noticed that we had another H1 right up here. So again, when I have more than 2 zones, I like to just pick the top 2 zones, because I know in myself, the reason why I do this is very simple. I know that if price touched both of these zones and it didn't exactly deliver, so I would be risk-free in here, and let's assume that I took a sell here, I would have taken a loss, right? So I would be risk-free in this because it's more than 50, 70 pips. But if price were to not deliver, which it didn't deliver here, and come back up and touch this zone and then go off, I would be feeling really bad. You know, I'll be like, oh man, I missed the trade, blah, blah. Okay, so this is what I did. Okay, so the first trade, first of all, why did I delete that? Okay, this was the H4. You can refine the H4 to a H1 if you wanted to. But let's say you didn't refine the H4 to the H1. Let's say you just had the H4 here and you took a sell trade. Absolutely, I believe you would have been stopped out. Yeah, 40 pips. Your stop loss is like here, right? So you would have been stopped out. Okay, so for me, what I did, I took 1, 2. These are the two zones that I personally picked. Okay, am I afraid that price is going to go without me? Not necessarily, and I'll tell you why. Because we're already in a daily bearish storyline. So any new H4 that forms, especially a H4 after a breakout, I can take that H4, right? Because we're dealing with H4s in the daily, right? We have a daily, we're just dealing with H4s. That's it, bro. Okay, so anyway, let me go back to the H1 and show you guys what I'm trying to talk about. Okay, so we have ourselves the H4, and then we have this as just a lonesome H1. So this is a H1 MTF with the H4. Okay, daily reject daily, H4 broke out. We've talked about that multiple times. So all I'm doing now, you could add like a what do you call this thing, bro? You can add a trend line confluence if you wish to do so, right? So for example, I don't know what I'm seeing right now. We could do something like that, right? So that's a trend line confluence. You're just adding another reason, another pretty solid reason if you ask me. You're just adding another pretty solid reason as to why you would want to take this area. That's all a trend line is, really. Again, hold on. There's more to it that I know, but I'm not sharing that right now. Anyway, we have that. That's the first reason. Okay, one reason you can enter here, and then price travels down, but it's it didn't actually deliver. No problem. We're still in the bullish storyline on the daily, right? Second area, daily reject daily, H4 breaks out. We have this first setup. It didn't exactly play to plan. It doesn't exactly last. Second area is this H1 here. This is the last possible area that it could go to, right? So I don't know, maybe if you want to do something like this, perhaps you're just connecting the resistances, by the way. If you're wondering, you can actually draw a trend line easier on a line chart. So if you were to do something like boom there, just like that. Okay, Charles Oliveira. Anyway, so yeah, that would have been your thing. So over here, and that would be your sort of confluence area. If you think, it doesn't touch Avi, okay, yeah, I guess it doesn't touch that, no problem. You want to pull it down, you want to do whatever you want to do, something. It's just a confluence, bro. Don't think too deeply about this stuff. Okay, maybe something like that, maybe, I don't know. That already cuts through the candle, so that's not very valid. But anyway, you get the point, right? So that would be my other area. Now you guys may be wondering, okay, Avi, but then it closed oddly. It closed oddly here. It doesn't matter if it closed as a It doesn't matter if it closed as an Alabama closing or an inbred closure. It doesn't matter unless the inbred closure starts a new storyline, which it didn't do. Okay, so if we have a daily bearish storyline, so the first thing you need to understand in this setup, right? Every setup is very unique. The first thing you need to understand in this setup is that even if it were to be a daily bullish storyline, it's not going to be too wise for us to buy. Why? Think about this. Why is it, even if it closes a daily bullish storyline, let's say it was daily bearish and then it switched up in here to daily bullish, why wouldn't it be too wise for me to, place a buy? The answer to that question is because we are literally in a monthly bearish area. It's not too wise. Doesn't mean it can't break, doesn't mean it can't violate. It has done that before, but it's not too wise for us to look for daily buys when we're in a monthly sell zone. You see, these are the experienced, subjective thoughts that come into my mind when I'm teaching you guys these things that you guys may not like, but it's the truth, so I don't care whether you guys like it or not. That's how I learned it. Okay, so yeah, that would be your little thing. I don't think this would have been a good trend line. No, it wouldn't have been. Anyway, just find a confluence like that and you're good there. That one works. That one works pretty damn well. Okay, so that would be your second entry. Okay, so if we're looking at the daily, right, we're riding that daily train pretty damn well, right? So we entered this first sell in anticipation of a daily bearish storyline starting, and then once the daily bearish storyline actually started, we took our first entry here. It failed. Maybe we took a little loss too, who knows, I can't remember, but I'm almost certain I took this trade. And then it comes back up and we take the second trade. Now, if price violates and breaks this entire thing with a body close, then yeah, of course, that's a, you know what I mean? You won't keep on looking. That wouldn't be low risk anymore. If you're entering from here, above, those are all high risk. Unless price comes up, touches this and does a daily reject daily, and then you want to take it after that, that's a different story, right? No pun intended. But here we're still within that setup, right? Because when a daily storyline starts, it means that a H4 has already broken. When the H4 has already broken, it means that they're giving you some zones over there. Once there's a breakout, there's always going to be zones, to play from, be it H1 or H4. But yeah, so that was that. And after that, even though it's daily and we're supposed to be entering from H4s, I like to pay more attention to daily zones in comparison to just purely H4 zones, right? So after this, I'm not just, oh, H4, H4, H4. No. If I would have just be H4, 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 I would have like caught this trade here, things like that. I didn't catch that trade. What I caught was this one. Okay, I'll be straight up with you guys. What I caught was this trade right here. See this? This is a daily open close. And then for the daily open close, I don't trade very much, guys. I don't trade very much. From the daily open close, all I did was look for a H4 within that. So I went right here. And the reason I went right here is because, I'll tell you why. The reason I went right here is because of this bad boy right there. And then H1. So this is H4 inside daily. Okay? Just like that. Bring that here. So the bottom line is the H4, the top is the H1 MTF with the H4. I just knew it was somewhere in this ballpark and there was a trend line to match with it, right? So I just took it. I just freaking took it based on this. So okay, let me rephrase that. This is a very simple trade. So you guys may be wondering like, huh? That's like, you know what I mean? What is that about? It's very simple. Daily bearish storyline. I should be entering straight off from high probability H4 areas. So a high probability H4 area could be a H4 MTF with a daily. It can be a H4 with a trend line confluence. Those are things that add on to the probability, correct? So in this case, it was a H4 MTF daily, correct? There's a daily in here, and then there's also a H4. Am I right? There's a daily, and there's a H4. And on top of that, the icing on the cake is that there was a trend line too. It's just a little icing on the cake right there. Who doesn't like icing on the cake? I don't. When I don't like cake. First of all, I'm on a diet. But if I were to get cake, I don't like the icing too much, man. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's kind of foul. It's kind of vile. It's kind of too sweet for me. But yeah, that would be my entry. Okay, and I like to wait for the entire day after that. I just wait every day. I'll look for a trade. It's not like, oh, that day, that H4 inside there, H4 into no. Once I've entered that trade for the day, I leave it. I see what price does next. Because now you have to understand, I'm paying attention to daily bearish storyline, right? I'm paying attention to daily area, H4 areas for obstacles. Now this is a little bit of something that's a bit subjective when it comes to me personally. By my rule set, I should be worried about H4s being the cause for concern for my daily bearish setups, correct? Because daily bearish storyline, H4 entries, but also H4 obstacles. Same thing with weekly. But I've noticed, H4s don't really react that violently. And especially because we're coming from a monthly zone, I was like, okay, never mind. I'm just going to pay more attention to the dailies, right? So in this daily, you may be wondering, oh, Avi, what happened in this daily? Okay, let's go see. Daily reject, right? What are we looking for? If we're looking for a cause for concern, daily should reject the daily support and do a H4 bullish breakout. But no H4 bullish breakout in sight. Okay, what's the next one? So these are things that are running through my head. This one, yes, daily rejected indeed, but no H4 breakout, so it could just be a pullback. Next one here, let's see what happens in here. Daily reject daily, any H4 breakout, guys? Nah, no H4 breakout. Instead, what we did was we went back and we rejected what? This is a beautiful trade for me. Beautiful trade. We had two areas that we could be playing off of. One here, one in the left shoulder. All I did was, oh, this is a daily. That's a daily too. Mark both of them. So I went to this one. This is the first thing that's going to come up, right? So look, isn't this a beautiful trade, guys? Look, first entry from the daily, MTF monthly. Second entry, after the daily reject daily H4 breakout, I found that there's a H4 H1 MTF. Took a trade from there. Now I know we're in a full-fledged daily bearish storyline. Why? Because it's freaking H4 breakout. Okay? Once that happened, I'm paying attention more so to the daily MTF H4s because I prefer that. I don't like to just go, oh, because it's daily bearish, just H4 like a freaking machine gun, right? Shout out Machine Gun Kelly. And the LGBTQ, right? So look, daily. This is another daily in here. There's another daily in here. Who knows which one? I'm just going to look. Which one is this? So I'll teach you again. I don't like to go too advanced, bro, but I'll teach you the operation of time frames to lower your risk. When you have a bunch of zones, how do you lower your risk? I'll teach you that in the future. It's literally in the next video, I think. Yeah, so don't worry about it, right? So in here, right, daily reject, before the daily reject daily, I'll just enter. So inside this daily, I'm going to pay attention. Okay, what do we got in here, bro? What do we have? Ooh, inside this daily, what do we have, guys? Open, close. Right? That's not really a refinement because our daily is up here. There's a H4. Okay, is there a H1? I asked that question. Right, I go in here and I see. I'm like, there isn't a H1. It's okay. I'll just take it from the daily because there's a zone over there. That's what I did. I will be honest with you. That's what I did. And then you can add like, trend lines. I don't even know what trend line there was, but you can add a trend line in there, right? Whatever the case may be, you can add a trend line in here, And again, if you're ever in doubt, right? Just don't freaking take the trade. You know what I mean? Just don't take the trade if you're in doubt. So this was one, and then I guess you could do something like this. No, you can't. I guess you could do something like this. No, you can't either. So I don't know whether I actually legitimately took this particular trade. I know I took these other two, but this one would have been another one that I would have probably taken. This looks like an RV trade to take, right? We have ourselves the left shoulder, there's a H4, right? And you're just riding the train of the daily bearish, because you have to understand, monthly hasn't turned bearish yet, but weekly is bearish, daily is bearish. So what exactly are you so worried about? All the pullbacks are opportunities for you to take the trade. That's how I look at it. I think I may have seen like a daily or something, man. I don't know. I genuinely have no idea what exactly it was. I don't think it could be because of this. No, definitely not. But anyway, I took that trade. I'm pretty sure of it. You guys can look at my screenshots, man. I don't lie about these things. Unless I'm 100% I didn't take it, then I'll tell you it's just a hindsight trade. But this looks like a RV trade. There's a daily, left shoulder, things like that. And then we refine it to the H4, refine it to the H1, but this isn't in the daily, right? So I just want to make that very clear to you guys. This is not a H4, H1 MTF. I would have taken it purely because of this daily. That's sitting there. And then let's say you missed that trade, right? So let's assume I didn't take this trade, guys. Let's assume I never took this trade. Okay, no problem. Maybe I didn't. So how do I deal with this? Oh man, I missed that trade, man. I wasn't too sure. I missed that trade. Don't worry. Daily, reject daily. Again, it happened. And again, as a result of that daily reject daily, we have a new daily resistance. We look at the H4. Anything interesting on the H4, right? Oh, new daily resistance. Anything interesting? So this is once that daily rejected daily. Oh man, I missed this trade, bro. It was so beautiful. I missed it. Fret not, my friends. Okay, daily reject daily. Let's see, what if we created out of this? Oh, okay, my rules say I don't really take SPR. Okay, fine, no problem. We have one zone here, right? We have another one up here, right? Depends whatever you want to take. We have these options here. Again, if you have multiple ones, maybe you missed this one too. Who knows? I'm just telling you, these are the options that you could have taken. Okay, so maybe you missed that one too. Okay, no problem. You're still too deep. You're still 2 trades deep, bro. In a storyline, that is powerful. It's still going in your direction, right? So again, over here we have the daily reject daily. See, this one doesn't reject. It's a break, right? The next one's up here. This one doesn't reject. Oh, this one does reject. Boom, we reject. Okay, we look at the next day. Anything interesting that we can enter off of? Let's see if I can give you guys my signature setup. Not really my signature setup. Anyway, daily reject daily. We look at what happened on the H4, right? Looking at what happened on the H4. Okay. New day starts here. Previous day, daily reject daily. We have one area to enter from. We have another area and another area. So this would be the other opportunity for you to enter from. Again, you see, Avi, that's too tough for me to enter from that. I don't have the experience to enter from that, or it just doesn't seem likely for me to enter that. Okay, you didn't enter that, no problem. Only take trades that you're confident in. That's my entire thing. And yeah, I don't think I actually took this trade, guys. Anyway, this trade is not a trade that I would have taken. Doesn't look like it would have been a trade that I would have taken. But yeah, anyway, you're too deep. 1, 2, and 3 if you caught this, which I did. So yeah, you know what I mean. So I'm just giving you guys opportunities or examples of how this would have played out. Over here, nothing really much at all. And then you would want to be worried about. You want to be worried about these areas. So around these areas, you would not be entering anything too much. You would not really be wanting to enter too much in here, simply because we are already weeklies in here, and it's kind of finicky, right? Because we are weekly bearish, so we need to worry about the weekly. We need to worry about the daily, right? For the obstacles. For the daily, okay, fine. You don't want to pay too much attention to the H4s, no problem. But you should be wary about the dailies. You should be wary about the weeklies. Be wary of it, right? Be wary of it and just watch out. That's all I'm trying to say. So even if you look over here, right? If you want to know how I play, we have this weekly zone, weekly reject weekly. We look for a daily, but there's no daily breakout. For there to be a daily breakout, what does price need to do? You need to break this. Price didn't do that. You see? Price didn't do weekly reject weekly and then the break. So why are you so worried about things? And yeah, it's just another opportunity for you to stack your trades however you wish to do so. You know, price over here didn't play, price over here didn't play, price over here didn't play. Yeah, it is what it is. Price over here played though, right? And anyway, like I said, we're in a weekly bearish storyline. You're gonna pay most of your attention to the daily. You're gonna pay most of your attention to the weekly. Now this is a little bit of a teaser into the next video, right? Into the operation of time frames. When you're dealing with, for example, a weekly bearish time frame, within the weekly bearish time frame, you guys are aware that we play from dailies, correct? So weekly bearish time frame, we play from daily resistance, correct? Sometimes there are so many daily resistances. Sometimes the daily resistances have so many H4s and H1s. So what we like to do, which is exactly what I just showed you. We're in weekly, right? We're in weekly. What I just showed you is what we're going to talk about in the next video. What I showed you was inside the weekly, we play from dailies, but there's so many here, this top one, up here. We will mark them and see which one we get the daily rejection from. Then that's the daily where we could say, oh, okay, the storyline has started. We can play from that. That may be where the weekly storyline continues. This was the retracement. I don't know where it's going to stop. Oh, but it did reject here. Oh, did it break out? Yes, it broke out. So now we have the daily in synchronization with, or in sync with, the weekly. That's probably where the turn is going to happen. That's where it did happen, right? So that's what I mean by the operation of time frames. You will notice when you only have one or two time frames that are bearish, for example, let's assume you have the monthly and the weekly bearish, but you see daily is still buying. That's because daily is buying to a sell point. Once daily buys that sell point and daily storyline turns bearish, adios amigos. Spanish, bro. Uno, dos, tres. You know what I mean? So, vámonos. You see what I'm trying to say, bro? I'm sick with Spanish, bro. I'm insane, bro. Anyway, see, that's it, man. Just a little bit of a teaser into the operation of time frames. As I said, when you see price buying, even though like your high, okay, so let's say you see your daily buying, even though your weekly monthly is bearish, that means your daily is retracing to a sell point, and you want to pay attention to where your daily bearish storyline starts. That's probably where your weekly is, and your monthly is going to start continuing downside. You see, isn't that insane? That's actually how it works, by the way. Most of the time, that's how it works. As again, nothing's confirmed, but that's how it works most of the time. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped. Before we go, oh no, I hope I didn't mess up anything. But before we go, I just want you guys to know the summarization of this video, which is how to deal with the inbred closings. Which to understand if we're still in that storyline is to ignore and watch it play out. If let's say in this wick, see we had that H1 that saved us. Let's say there wasn't any H1, nothing in here. You can probably speculate that you shouldn't be forcing any sells. It will probably buy out. But in this case, we're still in the daily bearish, and we have that H1 left behind inside that H4, so it's still considered bearish, and we can still take it and ignore the fact that price broke up above. Okay, and besides that, yeah, we just elaborated on the storyline. I hope you guys understood it. I gave you guys example the two ways that a storyline can be confirmed. One is, let's say weekly reject weekly, daily breaks out as a result of the weekly rejection. I want that drilled into you guys, right? That's the first way, the preferred way. Second way is weekly reject weekly, daily doesn't do much because of the rejection, but along the second week, right? So weekly reject weekly, that's the first week. Second week, daily breaks out in favor of the weekly bearish storyline. That's the alternative way. Then I showed you guys two setups. First setup is in line with the storyline. So let's say you have daily reject daily, and H4 does a bearish breakout, then you're going to look for H4s. Maybe if you like H4 MTF with the daily, right? So daily reject daily, H4 bearish breakout, daily bearish storyline, correct? So you're entering from the H4s. Or weekly reject weekly, daily bearish breakout. So you're looking at dailies to look for entries from. There you go, daily H4 H1. Okay, that's the preferred way. That's the lower risk, medium risk way. Then you have the higher risk way. The higher risk way is when you have your weekly reject weekly, and daily just creates just a new daily. That's it, like this one right here, for example, right? Or let's say here was daily reject daily, and it just creates a new daily resistance. That just that's it, enough, finish, and it's just done that, right? Without the breakout, that would be your medium to higher risk. In fact, it's more higher risk because you can't say that rejection of the storyline actually started. You see? So yeah, man, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. Aside from that, right, if you look at this, just giving you an example, right, if monthly reject monthly, and then we had like a monthly breakout, so like if we were to look at this and that broke out on the weekly, right? Monthly reject monthly, weekly breakout. We can say, oh, monthly bullish storyline. So if monthly bullish storyline, we'll be looking for what? Monthly and weekly to be our obstacles. Weekly to be our obstacles, but if there's a monthly, of course we need to pay attention to that, right? So for right now, we have weekly reject weekly, daily bullish breakout, right? We play from weekly daily. Daily MTF weekly will be the strongest. Exhibit A. Okay, so yeah, hope you guys appreciated this video, man. Yeah, pay attention for some bulls, I guess. Pay attention for a little bit of retracements, maybe around here. And see, yeah, if price comes up here, weekly reject weekly, daily bearish breakout, something like that, we can stack sells. Yeah, pretty much that's it. Hope you guys took something away from this video, man. Peace out.